Ahoy and parley, Brick Fanatics! Here it is at last, the return of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise in LEGO form, with the wonderful, the majestic, the cursed 10365 Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. Alright, let's get this out of the way first. We've all had a good laugh at Boba Fett's starship, Jango Fett's starship, Jango Fett's Fire Spray class starship, all of these increasingly convoluted names that the LEGO Group gives to these sets rather than just call these ships by their actual names. In this case, the ship's actual name is the Black Pearl. It's right there in the name of the first film, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Apparently this is a name that director Gore Verbinski absolutely hated. It was attached very last minute, and he said, the ship's not cursed, it's the pirates that are cursed, it's the treasure that is cursed. That's why if you look at the posters for this film, they say, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Anyway, it looks like in 2025 the LEGO Group also doesn't want to call something the Black Pearl because yes, this is Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. And up until now I had thought that maybe these naming conventions were to do with problematic words. A lot of people had suspected that the reason why Slave One is not called Slave One anymore is because Disney or someone involved in the process is just a little bit squeamish about the word slave in the title of a toy. And I guess maybe if you're reaching here, there is a certain contraband substance that has the nickname Black Pearl in some circles, but it's hardly very widespread. I mean, if we're going down that route, then this LEGO set should be called Creator 3-in-1 31166 Beautiful Animal with Hooves That Runs Fast, right? So now I'm wondering if, and I have absolutely no proof of this whatsoever, but I'm just wondering if maybe these convoluted names are less to do with problematic words or licensing deals or what have you, and maybe it's more to do with SEO, search engine optimization, or making it as easy as possible for people to search for these things. Maybe people aren't searching for Lego DeLorean, maybe they're searching for Lego Back to the Future. All the Jedi Starfighters on the market are named after their respective minifigures, but that does kind of make sense because that is the most identifiable thing in each of these boxes. Maybe that's the LEGO Group's approach in general here. Put the character name in the set name, and therefore it makes it an awful lot easier for people to get hold of the right LEGO set. The only thing that throws a spanner in the works there is that the Going Merry is called the Going Merry rather than being called Monkey D. Luffy's One Piece pirate ship. Speaking of which, though, boy, has it been a good year for pirates. Last year was LEGO Space Year. This year is supposed to be LEGO Formula 1 year, but I feel like for a lot of LEGO fans, especially fans of classic themes, this is the year of the pirates. We've got that new One Piece theme, which finally gives LEGO a pirates theme for the first time in quite a while. We've also got this beautiful Black Pearl, which is just absolutely stunning. I'm speculating a bit here, but just based on timings of things for the LEGO Ideas theme, it's not outside the realms of the possible that before Christmas we might get that Goonies set, which is another big, really detailed pirate ship. Maybe that's not going to happen, but we're kind of in the right window for that. And of course, over on the Bricklink Designer program, we've got the Thieves of Tortuga set, which I think is just absolutely fantastic. As mentioned in my review for it, it is one of, if not the best LEGO set that I've ever built. That's something that's going to pair very well with any of the other pirate sets that we've got this year, including this new Black Pearl. This is a pointless complaint, but I do feel like this is not the best time to use that black 18+ box design, because it is very hard to actually see the pirate ship here because it is all black. And I imagine that being the case, that putting this thing together is going to be a little bit of a pain because you are going to be stacking black piece on top of black piece for the majority of the build. I don't love doing that. I don't love building monocolor LEGO sets, but that is the nature of the beast here when you've got a pirate ship that is entirely black. I am grateful for the large collection of minifigures that come in the box. You've got Captain Jack Sparrow, of course, but you've also got my personal favourite character in the franchise, Captain Barbossa, who, let's be fair here, is captain of Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship for quite a lot of the time in these films. And there's Will, and there's Elizabeth, and there's Mr. Gibbs, and there's also a bunch of the kind of side characters, the ones that don't necessarily get all the speaking roles but are just there for a bunch of these films that round out the crew. I love having them included here because they are some of the more fun characters. They are less annoying, I think, a lot of the time than some of the main characters in these films, and I say that with love. This thing is going to cost £299 in the United Kingdom, €349.99 in parts of the EU, and $379.99 in US dollars, which is quite a lot more than the euro price, and we normally see parity between those two numbers. That US dollar price feels all the worse when you bear in mind it doesn't include sales tax, because for some reason Americans have to do multiplication every time they go into a shop. It also doesn't include a tip because retail workers in the United States are very, very underpaid. It's possible that this set has an inflated price due to tariffs, but then do bear in mind that the price in British pounds, £300, translates to 400 US dollars, which means that these two sets are about equivalent in price on both sides of the pond. So I guess you could say that a high tariff tide rises all ships. Now, if you're watching this video and thinking, I hope there's a history lesson in this one, I've got some good news for you. Let's talk a little bit about the origins of Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. This one came at a very interesting time for Disney, and I've heard people say that this is kind of the last time that Disney ever took a punt on something really weird and out there. The executives at Disney were almost certain that this was going to fail. They were convinced that this was going to be an absolute dud, and they were convinced of that for several reasons. First off, they had just released Country Bears Jamboree, which was an absolute dud at the box office, and it too, like Pirates of the Caribbean, was based on a Disneyland attraction. Not having a Disneyland in my country, I can absolutely see why a film called Country Bears Jamboree did not perform particularly well at the box office in this country. The other problem was that conventional wisdom was that pirate films were always box office disasters, unless, and this is a very slim unless Kermit the Frog was in it. While we're here, I just have a random piece of trivia about Muppet Treasure Island. Please let me tell you this. They built an actual pirate ship on a soundstage for that film that actually rocked back and forth so that it simulated being on the ocean. But they were so worried that all of the cast and crew were going to get horribly seasick filming this film that they gave everybody anti-nausea medication. And Tim Curry hated this because he took them the first day of shooting and they made him incredibly drowsy and he couldn't perform and he was just falling asleep. And so for the rest of the shoot, nobody used the drugs and everybody just got their sea legs and it was fine. Anyway, that film did all right at the box office. It wasn't by any means a smash hit, but for a pirate film, at least it didn't lose a lot of money, unlike Cutthroat Island, which did lose an awful lot of money around about the same time and really cemented the conventional wisdom within Hollywood that pirate films are always a box office disaster. Disney executives were certain that Pirates of the Caribbean was going to flop, and so Michael Eisner, the head of Disney at the time, actually called up the team and said, cancel it, stop everything, we are not funding this anymore, we are shutting you down. And director Gore Verbinski said, let's keep going, I'll change his mind later. And so they did. They showed him a bunch of stuff. Michael Eisner kind of loved it and said, oh, but why does it have to be so expensive? And Verbinski's like, because that's what your competitors are spending as well. Do you want something that's going to be able to keep up with The Matrix and the Lord of the Rings films? We need to put the budget behind this. And Michael Eisner is like, okay, fine, but can we get rid of as many references to the theme park ride as possible? And so a bunch of stuff, including like a waterfall scene, were taken out because it felt too much like a theme park ride. According to Orlando Bloom, he really didn't want to do this film. He was convinced similarly that pirate films always flop. He was doing a film called Ned Kelly in Australia at the time. He'd already done Lord of the Rings and been Legolas by this point, and he gets the offer and he's like, no. But Geoffrey Rush, Australian fella, who is Captain Barbossa, said, no, this is a brilliant part for you. You should absolutely do it, and I'm going to be in the film as well. And then Johnny Depp signs on as well, and Orlando Bloom is like, all right, let's give this a shot. Keira Knightley, 17 years old when they made Pirates of the Caribbean. That's very young for a role like this. It's less creepy than the fact that she was also 17 years old when they filmed Love Actually, but I'm not going to get into that. We're just going to move quickly on past that one. The studio was quite pleased when Johnny Depp signed on. They were like, okay, cool, we've actually got like a big name star in this film now. We've got somebody who is incredibly handsome and people are going to love coming to this film just to stare at this gorgeous, gorgeous man. And then they saw what he looked like in the film, and all over again they were very unhappy. This is actually better than it could have been. Johnny Depp's idea for Jack Sparrow was that he would have had no nose. He would have had it cut off at some point in the past and have stuck it back on somehow. Maybe it would be blue in colour, and he would be absolutely afraid of nothing, as a man who has had his nose cut off would not be afraid of absolutely anything except for catching a common cold and sneezing it back off again. Thankfully, he was talked down from that. One of the other things that convinced the studio to give this thing a go was the success of the film Gladiator, which brought back the swords and sandals genre, which was another genre from classic Hollywood that conventional wisdom assumed was absolutely worthless. There was very much an attitude of like, all right, let's give Gladiator on the Sea a try. And if you listen to the music and the soundtrack for these two films, they are very, very similar. I imagine what happened here is that they took took segments of the score from Gladiator and used it to cut together the rough edit for this film, and then they liked it so much that they got in Klaus Bennett and Hans Zimmer to do the music for this, and they said, just make it like the thing we've already got in our scratch track here. The result is one of the best pirate films of all time. A box office smash hit, a critical darling. It was culturally ubiquitous for a good long moment there. It is probably a large part of the reason why I love pirates as much as I do to this day. It's a shame that none of the sequels ever quite captured the same magic as this first film. They do get progressively less worth your time. I haven't even bothered to see the last one, and I don't think I'm the only person in that category, but definitely that first film, just lightning in a bottle, absolute smash hit, wonderful thing. Pirates of the Caribbean made its LEGO debut in 2011, both with a video game and with a bunch of sets to tie in with the film On Stranger Tides. I don't remember whether or not that's one I've seen. I think I've seen that one and not Salazar's Revenge, but I could be wrong. I think Salazar's Revenge has a different name in some regions, which just complicates things further and makes it all the more difficult for me to keep these films straight. Maybe there is a good reason for calling this thing Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship rather than calling it the Black Pearl, if I can get this confused over just the names of a bunch of films. And now the Black Pearl is back in LEGO form with a bunch of minifigures. I'm assuming because of how many minifigures are in here, we're probably just getting this one Pirates of the Caribbean set for the moment, but I'm very happy to have it. What are your thoughts on this thing? Let us know in the comments down below, and do all of the rest of the YouTube things. Give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you're going to be purchasing this LEGO set or any other LEGO set from the LEGO website in the near future, you can use the affiliate link which is down in the description or the QR code that is currently on screen. They take you straight to the LEGO website and we get a percentage of the sale when you purchase through those links. Doesn't cost you a penny extra, but helps keep the lights on at Brick Fanatics. Speaking of which, you can go to brickfanatics.com for coverage of all things LEGO and sign up to our newsletter so that you never miss anything LEGO related ever again. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful day.